Hello, and thank you for joining today's webinar. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about new features that have come out with Dropbox during the last couple of months. My name is Mark Patzian. I'm a cloud solutions architect at Dropbox. I'm only supporting the channel, and it's my pleasure to welcome you here today. I hope we get some time at the end to talk a little bit about your questions. In the meantime, I have 4 topics for you today. We're going to start with an introduction of the new Dropbox new Dropbox desktop client, which is actually absolutely fantastic. You're going to love it. Your customers will going to love it. Then I'm going through a couple of new features for the admin, a couple of features for end users, and also a couple of features from HelloSign that we just released. So let's dig right into it. Let me start with the new Dropbox client. And the new Dropbox client, actually, you might have already seen it. It's really reimagining how Dropbox works on your desktop. So it's our first ever foreground app that we developed. And we built in a couple of things that are super valuable to really focus on the stuff that you are currently working on. So the most important things here are you can actually add cloud content as well as your traditional files from your on-premise systems. What this means is you can now have Word documents, like Microsoft Office documents, Office 365 documents, directly besides G Suite documents from Google, or several other formats that only exist in the cloud. And this is something that I've seen at a lot of our customers, is that sometimes you have those companies where one department loves to use Microsoft Office or Office 365, and another one, like probably the more creative people, they tend to more use G Suite documents. Like in that environment, what is really distracting their work today is the fact that you can't organize those things together really on one screen, in one shared folder. You can't work together on those files. And with the new Dropbox desktop client, we're going to enable that for you. And of course, I'm going to show you how that works in a couple of minutes. But you can not only store those documents besides each other, you can also search across all of them. Yes, also including files that only live in the cloud. We are also indexing that content, and you will be able to search through that. In addition to that, we added something that we call spaces, and I will tell you a little bit more about that during the live demo. And we added the favorite collaboration tools of our customers. So one thing that always distracted me from work is actually having to switch between several different apps while I'm in the flow and just working on a document. Now with the new Dropbox desktop client, that's no longer necessary because you can, from the client, directly send messages via Slack based on the content you are just working on, or you can just go into a Zoom meeting that is focused on the content and lets you keep the flow for yourself and also for others. So while this is a lot of stuff that we built into the client, we also added a lot of artificial intelligence to the Dropbox desktop clients on various levels. So one of the things is, just as an example, the suggested folders that you will see, folders that you are working on frequently, but that you have not favorited yet or starred as in our context. So we will suggest folders where it might make sense for you to actually get access to those folders easier and faster. We will give you highlighted content that is used quite frequently from either you yourself or from your team. And we added people pages so that you are finally able to not only browse content via the content or via the structure itself, but also see what files you are working on frequently with other people and see all of the content that you shared with somebody else in your organization. In addition to that, and I already mentioned that just as a side note, the possibilities that you have by integrating your favorite tools that you're working with, like Slack, for example, like Zoom, where you can present things, or with Trello, where you can just add files from your Dropbox to a board in Trello. So enough said. Let me quickly show you a couple of things here. So this is my demo environment. This is what I use to show Dropbox to our customers, but also to our partners, of course. And I quickly want to go through the things that I mentioned. So let me start with this folder called Dropbox Updates. And it's actually not a folder, it's a space. So what's the difference between a folder and a space? I guess all of you are aware of the differences between a folder that only belongs to me as a person, a shared folder, or a team folder that is handled by the administrator and created by the admin and shared with different groups and different people within the organization. So a space is actually the next thing that you can think of as an evolution of a folder. So the one thing that is missing for me in a standard folder, independent whether it's a standard folder, a shared folder, a team folder, is the context. So context is actually what I'm really looking for in terms of what is this content about? Just imagine you are in a situation where you are a new employee, a new company in Dropbox. And no matter what they're using, actually, you would get a lot of files shared, a lot of things that you need to read and browse through. But actually, you're completely missing the context. So imagine you have a folder structure that consists of 12 files and you don't know where to start or what to do with them. This is where Dropbox Spaces comes in. So the definition of the space is actually that inside a folder, you have this place where you can add content in terms of a description, for example. But of course, not only description, but also tasks, right? So actually, this is the stuff that I'm currently working on. This is in this Dropbox space. This is the document I'm presenting to you, the presentation. And I need to do two things after that, after we finish this webinar. So first of all, I need to create a PDF version of it, and I need to distribute it to all of you that are currently watching this session. So I can give the context to this folder directly up here. But of course, as I said, this is not all. So one other thing that we changed is the way you actually look at a file. So even inside the new client, you will see a little screenshot of the content over here. But what is more important, without opening the file, you can already see all of the comments that are on this file. And you can also enter your own, like this file is fantastic, because it is. Post it, and it's automatically added to the first page of this file. And if you want to mention people, of course, you can also do this over here. If you want to make sure that people see this comment that you just did, you can just mention people and they will get the info right away. Sorry. So this is the comments that you can see here, but you will also see all of the activities around the file on one glance. So this is what I mean with you get all the information, all the context for the file directly at the file level. So as I said, this is like the first step to bringing content into context. You can do a lot more. We integrated a lot of tools for the send to functionality that we have. Just as one of the examples, I guess all of you know our fantastic HelloSign e-signature product. If you have a document over here that you want to send out for signature, you can do it right from the desktop client. If you want to send it via Gmail, you can do it right from the desktop client. If you want to share it, you can, of course, you of course have all the possibilities that you are used to, like sharing it via a link or invite other people via email to work on this folder or file. But what is new is you can also share this file on Slack. So this is my connection to the Slack instance that I'm using. And let me just send this file to the marketing channel. And as you can see, it is now sent. And if I look into my marketing channel over here in Slack, it's already there. And of course, it will also show you a preview because Slack and Dropbox are deeply connected. You can also start a Zoom meeting with that file. So what that means is actually, if you have a scheduled meeting, it can automatically connect you with that. Or you can just enter the Zoom ID and Zoom will automatically start with the file that you are currently using to be presented over here. So this is what I wanted to show you in the new desktop client. Another thing that I mentioned earlier is this suggested from your activity pane from the Dropbox Assistant. So you can see based on the activity that you are doing, you will see suggestions from Dropbox, from our artificial intelligence. And also one feature here that I find really, really handy is you will see all the changes, all the actions that you did in Dropbox during the last couple of days, not only from yourself, but also for your team. Well, this is me and this is my team. So everybody that I'm collaborating with, where I, for example, shared something, this will also show up here in the assistant. So this is what I wanted to show you in terms of the new desktop client. And now let us switch gears a little bit and move into new admin features. So first thing I want to talk to you about is the auto accepted licenses. And this is a fantastic feature that we're actually created to get to more people joining the team and completely automating the onboarding process. So what you will see here is, or what you can do with that is, imagine you invite 50 people to a new Dropbox business account. The usual workflow that we had earlier was that everybody will get an email and will have to accept the invitation to Dropbox. Can then decide if he already has an account with that email address, has to decide whether to join the Dropbox account with that, so the business account with that, or keep it private. But he has to actively do something. We changed that to auto accept. And what auto accept means is, as soon as you send out invitations to a Dropbox business team and you enable the option to join the team automatically, the new user will be active inside the Dropbox system as soon as you send out the invite. And this is fantastic. So the user actually doesn't have to click on anything anymore. He will be a part of the team just by sending him an invite. There's one prerequisite or two prerequisites though. You have to turn domain verification on and set a single sign-on to be required. Second thing I wanted to talk to you about is the custom notifications in account capture. Account capture is a feature that is available with the enterprise version, and it actually lets you add everybody that has created a personal account with your email domain, automatically add them to the business account. And one thing here is that you, again, have to invite everybody. And in the past, it wasn't possible to customize the message that is sent out to the users at that point. So we changed that to a custom notification so that now with account capture turned on, you can really customize the email that gets sent out to your users. Another thing that was highly requested by a lot of people is Smart Sync or Smarter Smart Sync. Again, I guess everybody knows what Smart Sync does. Actually, Smart Sync gives end users the ability to have content either locally synced or only available in the cloud. Even if it's available in the cloud, you will still be able to see it on your local machine, but you have to double click it or manually sync it to be able to access it and make it available as a synced file. So what we found out from a productivity perspective is that people were they had most of their content in the cloud. then they double click the file, edited the file, and just forget about it. Or they downloaded or synced a complete folder with a lot of images and they just forgot about it. So with this option of the smarter smart sync, you can make sure that after a defined period of time, again, defined by means of accessing the file, the inactive content will be converted to online content, online only content, again, if you have online only as a default. This really, really saves a lot of time and a lot of hassle and actually makes sure that people's hard drives stay with a minimum amount of data that they really need. Next up, and the next two things, this is something that I'm going to show you live as well, is the Insights dashboard. So we know that you as our partners, the admins from you or from a customer side, everybody wants to be informed, how is my Dropbox instance doing? How active are my people on Dropbox? What is actually happening, and understanding the health of the Dropbox deployment itself. We built an Insight dashboard that will give you exactly that. And I'm going to show you that in a minute. And as a last feature from a admin perspective, again, one thing that a lot of people ask for is in the content admin, where you actually create team folders, you are now able to not only manage team folders, but also all of the shared folders from every end user from one single page. Let me dive a little bit into this. So this is, again, my admin console, and let me start with the insights. So you will get, from an insights perspective, a lot of things that you are already used to, like a team overview and how files are being used, like how many edits, how many uploads, how many downloads you had. What we added here is numbers to watch. For example, all the links that were created without an expiry date, or links that were created without a password. And you're also able to create a report out of that and get a list of all of those files so you can take action on this. So actionable items in your Insights dashboard. Licenses used is obvious. External sharing is something that is super important. So what you will be able to see here is which are the domains that content is shared with. That really gives you an insight into how collaboration works inside your Dropbox instance. And of course, you can dig deeper into that to see which files exactly are shared with other domains. And last but not least, we're going to show you, of course, how much space is used and see what of this space is shared or not shared. Second thing I quickly want to go through is the content pane. So as you already know, and you will remember by this icon, you can manage team folders, which is a normal thing that always worked. But now you are also able to look at shared folders from all the members of your team. And you can not only see them, but you will also be able to change settings on this. And if I click on this folder, for example, to remove people from shares if you think that this is the way you should go. So those were the two features from an admin perspective that I wanted to share with you. And next up, a couple of end user features. And again, I'm not going to go into a lot of details due to time. And I see there are a couple of questions already coming in, so I'll make sure to leave some time at the end. Dropbox Transfer. Dropbox Transfer is a fantastic new functionality available for end users that lets you easily and securely transfer large files, build customized packages with 2 clicks. This is absolutely fantastic. You can also customize the look and feel of that. You can define the background image. You can add a logo file so that when you then send out a link to this, what people will see is your brand, your logo, and they will be able to download all of the content. Another functionality here is that the delivery will be confirmed. So you will get the information who downloaded the content. Second thing is people's pages. And I already talked a little bit about this in the beginning. So from the people pages, you will see all the content that you are working with, you are working on with other people in your team. So you will see all shared content. You will also see shared meetings if you connected your calendar before. And you can directly communicate via Slack, Zoom, or email with the people on the people's pages. Then last but not least, file locking. So everybody knows what kind of a hassle it is to work on a file that somebody else has open and you're creating conflicted copies. So we introduced file locking, which means you can actually lock a file, then edit it and unlock it when you're finished with that. And unless you unlocked it, nobody else will be able to work on those files. So again, this is something that I'd quickly like to show you within my content. So if I go into files and into my Dropbox updates folder, no, sorry, wrong click. To my customers, Expedia, I just create, what I'm going to do now is create a transfer. So one click, I mark all documents, then I send it with transfer, and we're ready to go. I can easily customize the design, change the background to blue, change the logo, just add a new logo quickly here, save it, create the transfer, and I'm done. So now I'm going to copy the link and move into another browser window and show you what the person on the other end will see. So this is what they will see from a transfer. So actually what you just did is you created a shared link basically, but in your own customized setting with your own logo, with your own background, and you can see all of the content with a little icon as well. Cool. So last but not least, I will browse through a couple of HelloSign new features that we have. By the way, I see questions coming in. I will make sure to answer all of those questions if we don't have the time to answer them within this session, and definitely get back to you on this. HelloSign, our electronic signature, our digital signature tool, is now even more intelligent. So what we can do is implement conditional logic and data validation in workflows. Just as an example, if you checked in this example that you're seeing here that you're a resident of the state of California on this document that you need to sign, you will be presented with an additional disclaimer that is only valid if you click on that button. So you can really do more with less templates. Second thing is actionable insights. Just like the actionable insights that you've seen in Dropbox, we have the same actionable insights or similar actionable insights within HelloSign. So what you see here is you can automatically or immediately see what documents are in which status and also export this report to inform stakeholders of user activity. Then last but not least, we simplified team management so that you can now customize branding by sub-team. For example, if your finance team will use a different branding than your marketing team, you are able to manage team level permissions and also even on a document level. And without going into more details, I'll just stop sharing and answer your questions. So Q&A, is Dropbox and Teams integrated like Slack? Not at the moment. We are working on this. We are working on exactly that functionality. It is on our roadmap. Next question is there a way to set up username and password for a Dropbox business user without having to ask the user to do this? I am not 100% sure. You can definitely do that via the API. Then automatically adding new accounts will only work with Dropbox for Business Advanced. Automatically adding new accounts in terms of account capture, if you are referring to this, Jürgen, it will only be available in the enterprise version of Dropbox for Business. Is there a way to link Dropbox Business to Office 365 so that username and password sync? Yes, if you're using single sign-on. So if you're using the Active Directory as a single sign-on source, you can actually do this, or any other SSO provider that you can add via SAML, like Okta or Azure AD, for example. Then another question. Let me quickly see here. Can you log in as another user from the admin portal? Yes, actually you can. There is the option to sign in as user, and this is available when you are looking at the user in the admin console. Then last question, we still have 2 minutes. When would you use Dropbox application versus Dropbox inside of File Explorer? Now that is a super interesting question. I can only speak for me at this time. I'm not using the File Explorer anymore because it doesn't give me context. So I'm actually only using the Dropbox application. I can think of different things where maybe it makes sense to work with the File Explorer still, but I can't imagine what that could be, because the main reason for me is, or what is super important for me is how is working with the context from my content. That is absolutely the thing that I need for my work. And one quick last question that I can answer very quickly. Would you be able to do a quick HelloSign demo and how it integrates with the new Dropbox client? Yes, I can. Please reach out to me via mpac@dropbox.com. That's mpac@dropbox.com. And we can talk about this, because now we kind of run out of time. Thank you all so much for being part of this webinar. It was super fun for me. If you have any other questions, just reach out to me or your PAM, your partner account manager, and have a fantastic end of the day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.